Surprise! Mega News is back. In November of last year, I decided to take a break from Mega News due to a lack of exciting things happening in the Mega Man space. But the even bigger reason, I'm kind of in the middle of my working husband arc and that takes priority. Since then, I've been working on my new Mega Memory series where I talk about my history growing up with Mega Man, from my earliest gaming origins, and recently I just put out the Mega Man 3 retrospective, which was my first Mega Man game. Fast forward to today, I've worked out a compromise that should allow me to bring back Mega News in the middle of my busy schedule. Introducing Mega News Mini! The name of which was not inspired by Mega Mini from Fully Charged, but now that you mention it. Anyway, with this new Mega News Mini initiative, essentially I'm doing away with the Roundup style that I used to do where I covered a million different Mega News into one video. Instead, each video I'm just going to cover one, maybe two topics if I can fit it in. So instead of a 1 hour roundup that covers everything that's happening in Mega Man at this current moment in time, this is going to be a short video with a topic that was interesting to me, and hopefully it is to you as well. That will be today's video, and then maybe tomorrow we'll have another topic to talk about. And that's just how we're going to go about things from now on. For those that prefer the long form roundups, perhaps I can do a compilation later, or maybe do a roundup post on the MegaManNetwork.com where you can find everything in a convenient list. But we'll see. Right now, I'm just focused on getting the ball rolling again, so let's get to that, shall we? Previously, I said that I would only return to Mega News if a new Mega Man game was announced. You know, that would be pretty exciting. And while that hasn't happened yet, perhaps today's topic will provide us with some important clues as to what's coming next for the Blue Bomber. At this point, I'm sure we are all familiar with the name Kotobukiya. They've been putting out a ton of amazing Mega Man model kits. Some of the kits that just released last year include Roll.EXE, which is awesome because we haven't really gotten much representation for her in model kit form, if at all. We had Falcon Armor X, and although we already had Sentinel's Falcon Armor X Riobot, this now brings X5 representation into the Kotobukia line, and it is very nice to have a game-accurate Falcon Armor. I believe out of the X1 to X6 armors, we're only really missing Shadow Armor and Gaia Armor at this point, because remember, Blade Armor came out not too long ago either. What do you mean it's been 2 years? No, it hasn't. I'm not that old. Speaking of X armors, we had the Triad Thunder Max Armor X kit, including what I believe to be the biggest effect part we've had to date for one of these Mega Man kits. Mega Man.EXE Premium Charge Shot Edition with the included Life Sword Program Advance stands as the latest release among the kits. But you can't forget good old Axel. All the S-Class Hunters together again. He is here. He actually just arrived here at the ShadowRock office at the tail end of last year, and it just looks incredible. It's been a long time coming to actually have some representation for Axel in figure form, or at the very least some good representation. And we have a lot more to look forward to in 2025, which I'll get into in a moment, but the majority of these kits, including the future ones we'll talk about here in a moment, were revealed during the 35th anniversary livestream that Kotobukia put on January 31st, 2024. Over a year ago now. It was a bombastic show, so many exciting announcements. It was like a Mega Man Model Kits lover's dream. And to close out the show, they hit us with a mysterious tease that over a year later, we still have no idea what this is, no official confirmations or anything. All we have is a silhouette of a mysterious armored figure with wings and blue eyes. Right off the bat, it looks like Keisuke Mizuno's handiwork, because especially when you look at the eyes, that is 100% Mizuno's art style, especially if you compare it to some of his other artworks in the past. But I mean, considering the man's been doing all the box artwork for the other model kits, that's not a huge surprise. Ever since this tease, there's been a million debates online about what era of Mega Man does this come from. I've heard practically all of the above get mentioned, classic, Battle Network, Star Force, Legends. For me personally, I'm leaning towards this being an X series character. It's hard to say if it is Mega Man X himself in a new armor, similar to the Giga armor that Bandai put out. Maybe it's Zero because of the shape of the eyes and also the boxed in jaw guard going on at the bottom of the helmet. Actually, Command Mission X's helmet had a similar shape too, but I dare not say it's Command Mission X because that would give me too much hope. What I can say with certainty is this silhouette does not match anything that's come before. The Mega Man community has scoured across all Mega Man media to find any kind of match to this silhouette from, existing characters. Yeah, no one to this day has found anything that 100% matches this. For all we know then, this could be an entirely new character. Who knows, man? But besides the identity of this character, the most interesting about this is the implications about what Capcom may be working on. You see, here's the deal with Kotobukiya. They don't make original kits. They only make kits that are based on a real thing that exists in the games. Not other media, not anime or anything like that, games only. Like, I had this thought too when this was teased, like, okay, maybe it's an original X armor, kind of like, the Bandai Giga armor that I mentioned. But when I talked to a proto dude from Rockman Corner, he informed me that no, that is not Kotobukiya's MO. They always base their designs on characters that exist in the game. So if we are to rule out that this is not an original kit, if we are to say that this character currently does not exist in any Mega Man game released to date, because remember, nobody has managed to match this silhouette up to anything that exists today. If we are to collectively agree on those 2 points, what in the world are we looking at here, right? You know where I'm going with this. It's possible that this is tied to some future Capcom announcement that has yet to happen, and that is the entire reason why this mystery has gone unsolved all this time. Really, the final nail in the coffin for this theory is that this is not Kotobukiya's first rodeo with teasing something, then holding off on showing anything about it until a future Capcom announcement. Let's talk about Mega Man.EXE. His normal and dark Mega variants were first unveiled on November 28th, 2020. You might remember that was the year of the pandemic, and we know today that back in 2020, Capcom had a bunch of Battle Network 20th anniversary stuff lined up that didn't really come to fruition because of the pandemic. That seemed to have been the case with the model kit as well, because after that first unveiling, Kotobukiya proceeded to go completely dark on the kits, just didn't really show us anything else about it until Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection was announced on June 28th, 2022. Almost 2 years later, folks. Almost. And what happened right after the collection was announced? BAM! Kotobukiya's Mega Man.EXE model kit is ready to go, and it came out in September of that year. So, coming on back to the mysterious tease, the jury's still out on what exactly we're looking at, but for me personally, it's probably the biggest thing right now that gives me some hope that there's something coming, and probably pretty soon, in fact. For all we know though, it could just be like Rockman X Dive 2, and then we'll be back to saying, oh, doom and gloom for Mega Man. But then again, if we do get a Dive 2, will it be a gacha? Because for all intents and purposes, Capcom seems to be completely done with original mobile titles right now. Like just the other day, they just ported Resident Evil 3 Remake to iOS and Mac and all that stuff, along with literally all the other Resident Evil modern titles. They've really been busy just porting their existing library to mobile rather than creating new experiences for mobile. Ever since Dive reached end of service, they've kinda just cut that crap out. So, you know, if we ever did see a Dive 2, hopefully it'll be a console game with no gacha. That would be ideal. And I dare not go towards being that guy saying, oh god, it's X9. I'm not that evil. I'm not gonna get people's hopes up like that. Because for all we know, maybe it's a new Mega Man 12 Robot Master, right? Really, I have no idea what this could be, but I'd love to hear all of your thoughts in the comments below. Am I onto something? Am I being foolish? Most likely. And what do you think is the actual identity of this mysterious character? Let me know in the comments as we end this off with a recap of the model kits from Kotobukia that we can expect in 2025. It looks like the immediate next one coming up is Black Zero. On Big Bad Toy Store, it says it's coming out in early April 2025. So that's when it's going to hit the Western territories, but usually these kits come out about a month earlier in Japan. With this kit, you get 3 face parts, 4 hand parts, the interchangeable buster, you get a red head gem, so that you can make him look like Fake Zero from X2. That's a nice nod to the Fake Zero fans. Interchangeable waist parts, interchangeable hair parts. Yeah, I remember they made an entirely new hair design for Black Zero that just looks a little bit better, although it is shorter than the original. But they also included the original hair to make him compatible with the older Zero kits. You also get 4 Z-Saber effect parts, and a special Z-Saber holding hand that you can put a Millite 316 in. Battery sold separately, of course. Overall, Black Zero with that purple saber is looking as sharp as ever. Coming up next in July 2025, according to Big Bad Toy Store anyway, is, get this, White Axel. Yeah, we already had original Axel, but now we're getting his white variants, and this is the first model kit or even figure debut for White Axel in general. Heck yeah, dude, let's go. Now a quick note about this White Axel kit. It's still using the X7 Axel design, even though White Axel himself comes from X8. I guess they're not ready to do X8 designs just yet, but this design at least crosses the gap, so I guess if you really like White Axel's color scheme, but you don't necessarily like the X8 redesign, well, here you go. This is a best of both worlds deal for you. With this fellow, we get 4 face parts, 4 hand parts, interchangeable wing parts that can be retracted. My favorite part about this kit is all the weapons that you get with this one. Of course, you have the 2 Axel bullets, but you have some special weapons too, including 2 ray guns and the blast launcher. And yes, both of these are X8 weapons. So this kit really does provide the most X8 representation we've gotten to date. My wife and I are so stoked about White Axel. So White Axel is coming out in Japan in June. And actually, there's a ton of Kotobukiya stuff coming out in June. What the heck? Yeah, so coming out the same month are the previously announced Mega Man 11 special weapon kits, specifically Pile Driver from Impact Man and Scrambled Thunder from Fuse Man. Each of these come with 3 interchangeable face parts, 4 hand parts, and of course their respective weapon parts. I really love the look of these kits though, and it's always really nice to have more Mega Man 11 representation. Speaking of Mega Man 11, if you thought that Koto was done with the premium Charge Shot kits, you would be wrong, because they also made a Mega Man 11 premium Charge Shot model kit. And actually, it's coming out in just a few short days here in Japan. And here you get pretty much all of the parts that came with the original Mega Man 11 kit, but now it's got that unique glow and shine to it like all the other premium Charge Shot kits, as well as the Charge Shot effect parts that I quite like the color scheme of, actually. But going back to June now, one of the most hype announcements that they showcased during the 35th anniversary livestream last year was that Bass.EXE is coming to the EXE lineup, and he looks extremely faithful to the games. What's special about this is that the developers actually hand painted all the lines, the Navi emblem, and all the special stuff that makes Bass what he is. so that the end user won't have to do it themselves and still be able to have a figure that looks straight out of the games. And as someone who's a novice at best at this model kit stuff myself, I definitely appreciate that. And that's one of my favorite things about these Kotobukia kits, is that they're generally very beginner friendly. So with this amazing Bass.EXE model kit, you're going to get 3 different facial expressions: normal, smiling, and screaming. You get 2 buster parts because you can put him into buster mode by replacing his forearm parts. You get all of his hand parts. Obviously you have his signature cape that you can remove if you want to. And last but not least, you have the dark arm blade effect part, one of his skills from bout number 5, and by the way, that effect part looks freaking sick. Oh gosh, I hope you're not trying to collect all of these Kotobukia kits in June, because whew, your wallet is gonna be drained dry by the time you're done. Yet, we do have one more. One of the other hype announcements from the 2024 stream was the fact that we got Sigma in the house! We all know that Sigma is an absolute hunk of a Reploid that towers over everybody else, as seen with the Sigma statue that Bandai put out years ago, that's basically twice the size as X and Zero. Because of Sigma's girth, people just assume that either a model kit would be extremely hard to do or just impossible. I guess it's not so impossible now, because yes, he is coming. We don't know when exactly or if he'll make it by the end of the year, but I guess there is some glimmer of hope, because just at the end of January this year we got the first official images of his prototype, and yeah, he just looks magnificent and still the happiest guy I ever seen. We can see that he has the signature Maverick Hunter X grin, as well as his evil laugh for the face parts. He's got his cape from X1 that is removable, and I wouldn't be surprised if they include his saber as an effect part, since this is X1 Sigma. And actually, yeah, there's the saber right there on his waist. Well, there you go. But other than that, that's pretty much all that we can glean from the first images so far, other than the information that it is going to be a 1 to 12 scale kit. But yeah, it's coming along very well, and super exciting to have an actual Sigma model kit, because the Bandai statue is just that, a statue. You can't pose him or anything, so yeah, this is awesome. Day 1 buy for me. That about wraps it up for today's Mega News Mini though. Not so many though, right? You see why I'm only doing one topic at a time now. If you made it this far, I want to say thank you so much for watching. Definitely stay tuned to ShadowRockZX for more Mega News Minis and other Mega Man videos like this one. Now that Mega News is back, I would appreciate it if you guys could tell all your friends that we're still here, alive and kicking. Since because of the way the YouTube algorithm works and the channel hasn't had a ton of content being pumped into it lately, it's doubtful that our subscribers are even getting the videos in their feed still. So yeah, if you could help spread the word, I'd really appreciate that. If you are in the mood for more Mega Man content, I do have the Mega Memory series that is still in the works. I have a video out about my origins as a gamer in general, and then the Mega Man 3 retrospective. The next one is going to be a Mega Man.EXE retrospective, which should be a lot of fun since it's my personal favorite game of all time. Well, it's between that and X4, but I digress. Originally, the X episode was supposed to be coming out this month in March, but I think I'm going to take a little bit more time on that and just make Mega Memories a bi-monthly series instead of a monthly series. Especially now that I'm doing Mega News again, I'm going to have to juggle some more things. And on top of that, I hope to bring back more live streams very soon as well as reviews and lots of other stuff that we be cooking over here, so stay tuned for all that, folks. I really appreciate your support. Speaking of support, thank you to all of our channel members. You guys are what keeps this channel going. Really appreciate all of you guys. Don't go away, because I got a lot more Mega News Mini topics to talk about in the coming week here. So, until the next one, rock on and have yourselves a great time zone.